So in a sense, all of us are having an out-of-body experience every night. It's just not fully understood yet.
Okay, and you're saying that the dream body is an aspect of the energy body, but in your view isn't as free, isn't as unlimited as the energy body that you're describing.
Because there's a lack of conscious awareness present in it. It's all about the percentage of conscious awareness in the energy body that makes it an effective tool for exploration. Just like the physical world.
Okay.
We have to maintain a certain percentage of our consciousness in this body, or we are not effective. The same applies when you're out of body. Each energy body that we use must have a certain degree of consciousness. No one knows what that percentage is, but it has to be enough for you to be able to absolutely use that energy body with the same and minimal freedom that you would experience in the physical world.
Okay, and then just to complete this, doesn't need to be a long answer, but this idea of remote viewing, that you leave your body and that you can go look at someplace in another country or whatever. It seems like that's a form of an out-of-body experience.
Yes, it is for many people. There's a fine line. I've met many of the remote viewers.
Yeah.
I do workshops at the Monroe Institute.
Oh, okay.
So I'm familiar with Skip and the whole crew. And there is a difference. Remote viewers will be, if you talk to one and ask them the same question, they will delineate the two. They will tell you whether it's, many of them have the ability to have out-of-body experiences, and they also have the ability to remote view in the strictest of senses, where they are using psychic vision. I'm from the old school. In the 70s, we called remote viewing psychic vision. And today, in my conversation with remote viewers, they will tell you whether they're out of body because it's a more visceral experience. They'll be crawling on the ground observing something, and they'll feel themselves in an energy body during an OBE. During a, let's just say, remote viewing experiment, it's strictly psychic impressions coming in, and it's a whole different kind of experience. But many of the remote viewers do have OBEs. I know this for a fact from talking to them.
Being in the energy body, it sounds like there's a lot of different possible aspects, emphases, things that can happen. And you teach a lot of different techniques.
Yes.
For both being in the energy body and then what kinds of adventures the person goes on, correct?
Right.
What I'm curious about is there are dimensions beyond the energy body as well, I would imagine.
Yes, there are. That's what makes this so fascinating and exciting. Each of us possess multiple energy bodies. I use the term energy body to actually as a description for all of our various energy bodies. You can actually, during an out-of-body experience, you can move from your physical body to your, let's just call it your first energy body, or what people perceive as astral. What's fascinating is, with a little training and focus, you can actually exit the astral body very much like you would the physical, and shift your awareness into your finer vibratory body. Many labels have been put on this, but let's just call it a much more finer energy body that's more of thoughts. And it's a much more free, it's a finer body with more freedom. This shift can occur within ourselves. Out-of-body explorers that use control have the ability to travel inward within themselves through the various energy bodies. And like I said earlier, we're much more complex in body, mind, and spirit. We possess multiple energy bodies. And eventually, as we move inward, we experience what people would perceive as their spiritual self or their spiritual essence. You can continue to travel within yourself. I call it the direct path to spiritual liberation, where you're moving within yourself through all of your various energy bodies. The purpose of meditation and yoga is to liberate yourself from all energy bodies, essentially, and go to your highest aspect. But often in meditation, people will still experience these. What I have tried to do is make it clearer, more concise, and to actually explore each dimension as we go through them, so people will understand just how magnificent we all truly are.
Mm-hmm. Now, William, you may find this a strange question, but see if you can hang with me for this. It's a little personal, too, but the kind of meditation that I've been doing is one that's very physically based, very embodied, really working with the feeling of the body and then exploring it in more and more subtle ways. But here's the question. I've noticed sometimes when people discount their physical body, that they're discounting certain shadow or hidden aspects of themselves, meaning they're very comfortable out in the energy world, but then they come back and have trouble maybe with their relationships, maybe with issues around power or morality or other kinds of things that are really on this physical plane. They're fabulous out in space, but they're not that great actually dealing with the physical world, like ethics, things like that. And that's always bothered me. And I'm curious what you have to say about that. Do you believe that our travels in the outer dimensions change how we act in the physical world?
Yes, I do. I think it has to change it because we are gaining more knowledge about what we are. And as we grow in our knowledge, I think we grow in our ethics. We grow in our understanding. We grow in our empathy because we understand how tough this evolutionary process is because we're actually seeing it from the inside. We're seeing a broader spectrum of what each of us must travel through to get, let's just say, to evolve on our path. Now, getting back to your point of the physical body, I do believe, I don't discount the importance of the physical body, and I like to make that very clear. We have incarnated here because we have work to do. There is no doubt. This is a training ground of consciousness, and that there's valid, important work that must be done here that cannot be in any way sidestepped. The importance of out-of-body experience is just to enhance that. I am very active in the physical world. I have a family, I have a business, I have a lot of things going on. It doesn't detract, it adds, because it gives me a broader perspective of what's truly important. Because as I feel, as you obtain more knowledge about yourself, then your priorities are changing. Then you truly see what's important. And you're not so caught up in the minutiae of the physical world, all the illusions, as the Buddhists would say. Mm-hmm. You see the illusions for what they are. So you become more expansive, and you become, I think, actually more effective. Now, everyone is different, but I like to emphasize that I do feel strongly that I'll teach this in my workshops, in every workshop, that the physical world cannot be in any way thought of as a secondary adventure. That this is still our prime adventure. When we entered the physical world, we were brave explorers. And this is our prime learning ground. And all the other learning grounds are just in addition to it. And I think that's the focus that I teach.
Mm-hmm. Now, you mentioned that through out-of-body adventures, it's possible to get answers. And I'm curious, what are some of the big questions you've asked in your own explorations and what answers you've received?
I've demanded to experience my spiritual essence, which was a remarkable experience. I've done this many times. And in fact, I have a technique that I teach called Higher Self Now, where during an out-of-body experience, you move away from your body approximately 10 feet. You use a technique I call Awareness Now to center yourself. And then you demand to experience your higher self or your spiritual essence or whatever phrase means that to you. And the result is amazing. If you're open to it, what you experience, at least what I've experienced, is that you end up shooting through layers of color and light and energy. It's like, and you feel like you're being stretched across the universe. And the end result is that you're floating in this immense sea of pure white light and love. And it's hard. You can't put words on this, but you're beyond all form. You've, in a sense, done what in the Tibetan Book of the Dead, they talk about going to the clear light of the void. I feel this is the clear light of the void. There is no form. It's pure conscious awareness, and you're there. You're conscious. You're absorbing everything that's there. All answers, all questions, everything is present. And again, you can't put words to this. But I wanted to give you a feel of this. This is what's possible during an out-of-body experience. It gives you an opportunity to have a profound spiritual experience